Tonight, you're going to drift through the quiet expanse of the sky. Not the sky you glance at between moments, not the backdrop to your hurried day, but the sky you can sink into, a vast, gentle ocean of air that wraps the whole world, silent and patient and endlessly calm. Imagine you're beginning a journey, one where time moves differently, where there is no destination and no hurry, only the slow, meandering drift of your own attention, free to wander wherever it wishes, free to rest whenever it wants to rest. You find yourself lying back, and as you do, you notice a lightness, just the faintest sense that the weight of your body is loosening, that the heaviness of the day is lifting from your shoulders, your arms, your legs. There's nothing you need to do. There's nowhere you need to be. The only thing ahead of you now is a gentle, floating path through the quiet skies, through layers of soft air and delicate moisture, through the peaceful realms where clouds live and breathe and slowly, very slowly, change their shapes. The ground beneath you begins to feel distant, not in a way that is sudden or startling, but in the way that a memory softens over time, becoming hazy and gentle. You feel yourself rising, not with speed, but with a kind of patient buoyancy, like a dandelion seed carried by a breath of warm air, so light that the breeze barely notices you, so calm that you hardly notice yourself moving. The world below spreads out into a muted patchwork of fields and trees and distant rooftops, all of them growing smaller, softer, wrapped in the quiet hush of the evening. Sounds from the ground, the hum of traffic, the distant voice, the rustle of leaves, become thinner, more transparent, until they are just a faint whisper, and then, slowly, they fade entirely, replaced by a stillness so complete that you can almost hear the silence itself, a silence that is not empty but full, filled with the gentle presence of the sky. As you rise, you become aware of the air around you, and you notice that it has a quality, a coolness, perhaps, or a softness, a kind of velvet texture that you can almost feel against your skin, though you're not really touching anything at all. The air here is not the hurried, gusty wind you sometimes feel on the ground. It's a slow, ambling drift, a current so lazy and unhurried that it seems to have forgotten where it was going, content to wander and loop and curl around itself in peaceful spirals. You let yourself be carried by this current, allowing it to support you, to hold you in its invisible embrace. And you find that there is no effort required, no struggle, no need to steer. The sky knows where to take you, and it takes you exactly where you need to go. Into the calm, into the quiet, into the soft, waiting arms of the clouds. The light around you is changing as you rise, and you watch it with a gentle, unhurried curiosity. Near the ground, the light had been golden and slanted, the light of late afternoon or early evening. But as you ascend, it becomes more diffuse, more pearly, a light that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, wrapping you in a soft, silver, gray glow. There is no harsh sun, no bright glare, just a smooth, even radiance that makes everything look slightly dreamlike, as if the whole sky has been painted in watercolors, the edges blending seamlessly, the colors shifting from pale blue to soft white to the faintest blush of peach. You notice that time moves differently here. In this quiet place between the earth and the stars, you can feel it in the way the light changes almost imperceptibly, in the way the currents of air meander without direction, in the way your own thoughts begin to slow, to stretch, to drift apart like clouds on a windless day. There is no hurry. No clock ticks, No demands press upon you. You are here, simply here, and that is enough. You continue to rise, and now the air grows cooler, not unpleasantly so, but in a way that feels refreshing and clean, like the first cool breath of a mountain morning. You notice that the coolness carries with it a faint scent, something clean and pure, the smell of air that has traveled great distances over oceans and forests, air that has never known the dust and noise of cities. It's a scent that speaks of open spaces, of endless skies, of the quiet that lives above the clouds. And as you breathe, slowly and deeply, you feel your body relaxing even further, sinking into a deeper state of calm, a deeper state of rest. With each breath, you rise a little more. With each breath, the world below becomes a little more distant. With each breath, you come closer to the soft, waiting realm of the clouds ahead of you. You begin to see them, the first faint wisps of white, thin and delicate, like threads of silk stretched across the pale blue. They are so faint at first that you might not notice them if you weren't looking so gently, but as you drift closer, they become more distinct, curling and feathering at the edges, dissolving and forming in slow motion. These are the vanguard of the cloud world, the outermost edges of the great, gentle blanket that wraps the planet, and they welcome you with the softest of touches, the faintest brush of moisture against your skin, a whisper of coolness that says, in its own quiet way, you are welcome here, you are safe here, you can rest here. You are entering the realm of clouds and quiet skies, and everything here is peaceful and slow and still. The first cloud you approach is a low, soft layer of stratus, a gentle gray, white blanket that stretches in all directions. As far as you can see, smooth and unbroken except for the occasional gentle undulation. Like the ripples on a calm lake, you drift toward it, and as you do, the air becomes mistier, the light more diffuse, and you feel a slight coolness on your cheeks. The coolness of water droplets so fine that they are almost not there, suspended in the air like tiny, floating jewels. The stratus layer is not thick or heavy, it is thin and welcoming, a veil rather than a wall, and you pass through it with the lightest of movements, as if you are slipping through a whisper. On the other side, you find yourself in a world of soft, quiet gray, a world where everything is muffled, where sounds are absorbed by the moisture, where the light is flat and even like the light through a frosted window. There is no edge, no boundary, just a seamless, endless softness that surrounds you and holds you, and you feel your thoughts slowing even more, settling into the same calm, featureless peace that fills this gentle cloud. Time moves differently here. In this gray, quiet world, you can feel it stretching, lengthening, each moment expanding into a slow, spacious pool of stillness. There is no need to mark its passing. There is no need to notice anything in particular. You are simply here, drifting in the soft, moist air, surrounded by the quiet company of a billion tiny droplets, each one a miniature world of water, each one catching and scattering the muted light. And as you drift, you notice that the cloud itself is alive in its own slow, patient way, not alive as you are, but alive in the sense that it is always changing, always moving, though so slowly that it seems to be standing still. The droplets that surround you are gently bumping into one another, merging and separating, growing and evaporating, in a dance that has been going on for hours, for days, for as long as the air has been cool and the moisture has been present. It's a dance of impossible slowness, a ballet of patience, and you watch it with a quiet, drowsy wonder, your eyes half closed, your mind settling into the rhythm of the cloud, and you drift slowly, very slowly. You drift through the stratus layer, and the gray light wraps around you like a blanket, and you feel the gentle coolness on your skin, and you hear, or imagine you hear, the faintest sound, a sound like the soft exhalation of the earth, the whisper of moisture condensing, the quiet sigh of the atmosphere as it rests. There's nothing demanding your attention. There's no need to focus. You can let your thoughts wander wherever they want, or you can let them go entirely, slipping away like the mist in the morning sun. The cloud holds you, and you are safe, and the world is peaceful, and the sky is quiet. And now, slowly, very slowly, you find yourself moving upward again, leaving the gray blanket of the stratus behind. The air begins to lighten, the gray giving way to a soft pearl, white, and then, as you rise further, you break through the top of the layer into a world of astonishing, gentle beauty. Above you is a vast, pale, blue sky, and below you is a soft, undulating sea of white. The top of the stratus, now a smooth, rolling plain of cloud that stretches to every horizon. Unbroken and serene, you are floating between the cloud and the infinite blue, and the silence here is deeper than any you have ever known. A silence so complete that it seems to fill your ears with a soft, cottony stillness, as if the whole world is holding its breath in reverence. You are no longer rising quickly, you are simply suspended, drifting gently in the space between, and you feel a profound sense of peace settling into your bones. A peace that is as vast and empty as the sky itself. Now, gently, you drift toward a new kind of cloud, one that rises from the smooth sea below in great, billowing towers, but not the dark, threatening towers of a storm. These are the gentle cumulus clouds, the clouds of fair weather and lazy afternoons, the clouds that look like scoops of cream, like soft pillows piled high, like mountains made of foam. As you approach them, you notice how they rise with a kind of slow, patient grandeur, their edges sharp and brilliant white, where the light touches them, fading into softer grays and blues in their shadowed curves. The cumulus clouds are not still. They are slowly, very slowly, growing and shifting, their tops spreading outward into delicate cauliflower-like shapes, their bases flat and even, as if resting on an invisible table. You drift toward one of these gentle giants, and as you draw near, you feel the air around you warming slightly, a subtle updraft carrying you upward along the cloud's flank, lifting you without effort, without hurry. You find yourself skirting the edge of the cumulus, and now you can see the details of its surface. The way the white is not uniform, but made up of countless tiny whorls and ripples, like the surface of a meringue, like the foam on a quiet wave. The sunlight, gentle and golden, white, plays across these ripples, creating shadows that are soft and blue, gray, never harsh, never dark. You can almost feel the texture of the cloud, though you know you would pass right through it if you reached out. It has a visual softness that suggests a kind of cool, airy fluff, like the softest cotton, like a breath made visible. And as you drift alongside it, you realize that the cumulus is breathing, not in a literal sense, but in its own slow, meteorological rhythm. Warm air is rising through its center, feeding it, keeping it buoyant, while cooler air sinks around its edges, creating a gentle, circular motion that is too slow to see, but can be felt as a kind of subtle, calming pulse. You become part of that rhythm, rising and sinking in the gentlest of oscillations. Your body so light that the smallest currents can carry you, and you let yourself be carried. Let yourself be cradled by the cloud's slow, ancient respiration. Time stretches out again, and you find yourself drifting into a meditative state, your thoughts becoming as soft and round as the cumulus around you. You watch a single puff of cloud at the top of the tower as it slowly, very slowly, detaches from the main mass and drifts off on its own, becoming a tiny, orphaned wisp that gradually thins and fades into the blue. That single puff was once part of the great cloud, and now it is on its own journey, dissipating, becoming invisible vapor, joining the vast, unseen reservoir of water that fills the sky. And yet, you know, in some quiet way, that the water will return. It will condense again, form another cloud, drift and fade and form again, in an endless, patient cycle. There is no hurry in this cycle. There is no loss, no gain. There is only the gentle turning of the wheel, the quiet, eternal dance of water and air, and you are a part of it now, a silent, floating witness to the peaceful, repetitive patterns of the sky. And you drift, ever so slowly, around the cumulus tower, and you notice how the light changes as you move from its sunlit side to its shadowed side. On the sunlit side, the white is so bright and pure that it seems to glow from within, a soft, radiant whiteness that speaks of warmth and ease. On the shadowed side, the cloud takes on a gentle blue, gray hue, cool and restful, a color that invites the eyes to rest, to close, to let go. You pass through this transition, from light to shadow to light again, and each time you do, you feel a subtle shift in your own state, as if the cloud is gently rocking you, soothing you, lulling you into a deeper and deeper calm. The peacefulness is absolute. Nothing demands your attention. There is nowhere you need to go. You can stay here, drifting around this gentle mountain of cloud, for as long as you like, for as long as the sky allows, and the sky is patient, and the cloud is patient, and time itself seems to have stopped, or at least to have slowed so much that it no longer matters. And now, slowly, as you drift onward, you notice that the cumulus clouds are becoming more widely spaced, and above them, high above, you can see another layer of cloud, a delicate, filigree pattern of white and gray, like the ripples in the sand at the edge of a quiet sea. These are the altocumulus clouds, the clouds of the middle sky, and they stretch across the dome of the heavens in long, parallel bands, in small, rounded puffs, in gentle waves that seem to go on forever. You find yourself rising toward them, the air growing cooler again, the light becoming more silvery, and as you approach, you see that the altocumulus layer is a kind of sky tapestry, a woven pattern of light and texture, ordered yet endlessly varied. The individual cloudlets are small and round, each one a soft, self-contained puff of white, and they are arranged in rows, in gentle arcs, in lines that converge and diverge like the contours of a topographical map of a peaceful, rolling land. You drift into the altocumulus layer, and now you are surrounded by these small, quiet clouds, each one a companionable presence, a silent fellow traveler on this journey through the sky. The space between them is a deep, gentle blue, and as you move through it, you have the sense of walking or floating through a grand, silent hall with pillars of white cloud rising on either side and a ceiling of paler blue above and a floor of soft, dappled shadow below. The temperature here is cool, but not cold. A kind of perfect, crisp coolness that feels clean and refreshing. And you notice that your breathing has become slower, deeper, more rhythmic, as if it is trying to match the slow, measured pace of the clouds themselves. The altocumulus clouds are not growing or dissipating quickly. They are in a state of gentle equilibrium, persisting for hours, their shapes changing only imperceptibly, as if they are content to be exactly as they are, exactly where they are, in the vast, quiet middle of the sky. And now, you allow yourself to focus on one particular cloudlet, a single, small puff of white that floats just ahead of you, slightly apart from its neighbors. It is round and soft, with edges that are crisp in some places and feathery in others, and it seems to glow with a soft internal light, as if it has captured a piece of the sun and is holding it gently within. You drift closer, and you see that its surface is not smooth, but textured with countless tiny bumps and hollows, a micro topography of condensation, where water droplets have gathered and are clinging to one another in a delicate, temporary embrace. The droplets are so small that you cannot see them individually, but you can sense their presence in the way the light sparkles and diffuses, in the way the cloud seems to shimmer faintly at the edges. This single cloudlet is a world unto itself, a quiet, self-contained universe of moisture and light, and it exists for no purpose other than to be, to float, to catch the light and scatter it into soft, soothing patterns. You watch it, and you feel your own thoughts scattering in the same way, becoming diffuse, gentle, light. Nothing demands your attention. No need to focus. Just the quiet observation of this tiny, peaceful world, and the slow, rhythmic drift of the air that carries you past it, and the deep, steady calm that settles over you like a benediction. And now, slowly, very slowly, you drift higher still, leaving the altocumulus fields behind. The air grows even cooler, and the light takes on a silvery, almost crystalline quality. And you become aware that you are approaching the highest realms of the sky, the domain of the cirrus clouds. The clouds of ice and fine, feathery thread, the clouds that float so high that the earth below is but a distant, abstract painting. The cirrus clouds are thin and delicate, like brushstrokes of white on a pale canvas, like the finest silk stretched and teased across the heavens. They are made not of water droplets, but of tiny ice crystals, and these crystals catch the light in a way that is soft and ethereal, creating halos and arcs of pale color that are almost too faint to see, but which you can sense at the edge of your vision. A gentle, prismatic shimmer that is there and then gone, like a whispered promise of beauty. You drift into the cirrus layer, and you find that it is even quieter here than it was below. If that is possible, the silence is so deep that it seems to press gently against your ears. A silence that is not empty but full of the slow, patient drift of ice crystals, full of the infinite depth of space that lies just beyond the thin blue veil of the upper atmosphere. The cirrus clouds stretch out in all directions, thin and wispy, sometimes forming parallel bands that curve gracefully across the sky, sometimes spreading out into a thin, milky veil that softens the blue to a pale, dreamy hue. You let yourself drift among them, and you notice that the air here is so still that the crystals seem almost stationary, suspended in a perfect, frozen moment. And yet, in a quiet, ambient way, that they are slowly, very slowly, falling so gradually that it would take them hours to descend even a few hundred feet, falling in a slow, silent snow that never reaches the ground because it evaporates long before it could ever touch the earth. This is the gentle, perpetual cycle of the high clouds, ice crystals forming, drifting, falling, and sublimating back into invisible vapor, only to rise again and form anew. There is no end to this cycle, and there is no beginning. It is simply a quiet, ongoing rhythm, a slow, cosmic breath, and you are part of it now, drifting in the high, silent spaces where the air is thin and the light is pure and the earth seems a beautiful, distant dream. And as you drift among the cirrus, you notice how the light plays on the ice crystals, creating a soft, diffuse glow that seems to come from everywhere at once. The sun, low on the horizon, sends its rays through the thin veil of cloud, and the light is bent and scattered, creating a gentle, pearly luminescence that wraps the whole sky in a pale, golden, white radiance. You can almost feel the light on your skin, a faint, cool warmth, the barest suggestion of heat, as if the sun is reaching out to touch you with the gentlest of fingers. And in the center of this soft radiance, you might see a sundog, a small, bright patch of color that hovers at the edge of your vision, a fragment of rainbow too shy to fully form. Or you might see a circumzenithal arc, an upside down rainbow that smiles gently from the zenith, its colors pale and delicate, like the memory of a rainbow, like the echo of a color that has been washed clean by the pure, high air. These are the quiet wonders of the cirrus layer, and they ask nothing of you. They are simply there for you to notice if you wish, to ignore if you prefer, to let wash over you like a soft, visual lullaby. And now, gently, you find yourself descending from the cirrus heights, not falling, but floating downward through the layers of the sky. Retracing your path in reverse, you pass through the altocumulus again, and the little puffs of cloud welcome you back like old friends, their shapes a little different now, but still the same, still quiet and calm and ever patient. You sink through the cumulus layer, and the great billowing towers seem to nod in acknowledgement, their slow updrafts giving you a gentle lift before letting you go, as if they are saying, rest well and come again. And then you are back in the low stratus, the soft gray blanket that first enfolded you, and you feel its cool, moist embrace, and you feel your body, or the sense of your body, becoming heavier, more present, more rooted, but still relaxed, still peaceful, still wrapped in the quietude of the journey you have taken. Now, slowly, you become aware that you are approaching a different kind of cloud, a cloud that is not above you, but around you, a cloud that clings to the surface of the earth itself. You are descending into fog, into a soft, white mist that blurs the boundaries between the sky and the land, that makes the whole world a close, intimate, hushed space. The fog is cool and damp, and it carries with it the scent of wet earth and distant pines, a scent that is grounding and soothing, a scent that speaks of forests and meadows and the quiet sleep of the natural world. As you drift into the fog, you feel the air thicken slightly, and the light becomes diffuse and gray, white, and all sense of distance and direction fades away, leaving only the immediate, the close, the soft, the quiet. The fog is a blanket, a gentle, enveloping presence, and it wraps around you, holding you in a warm, moist cocoon, and you feel yourself sinking deeper into rest, deeper into the slow, peaceful rhythm of sleep, and you drift through the fog, and the fog drifts through you, and the world is white and soft and still, There is no hurry here. There is no tension. There is only the slow, rhythmic passage of time, measured not by clocks, but by the gentle, cyclic condensation and evaporation of the tiny droplets that make up the mist. You can feel the droplets on your skin, not as individual drops, but as a fine, even coolness, a dew that settles on your face and hands, as soft as a kiss, as light as a memory. The fog is so thick that you can see only a few feet in any direction, but somehow this does not feel confining. It feels intimate, protective, as if the world has drawn close to hold you, to keep you safe, to whisper that it is time to let go, time to rest, time to sleep. And now, slowly, the fog begins to thin, and you see that you are drifting toward a coastline, where the land meets the sea and the fog is rolling in from the water in slow, silent waves. The fog here is different. It is a sea fog, a marine layer, formed by warm air moving over cool water, and it has a different texture, a different scent, a different quality of light. The light here is cooler, more blue, gray, and it has a kind of soft, liquid quality, as if the sky itself has become water, as if the whole world is underwater, floating in a calm, sunlit sea. You drift through the sea fog, and you hear, or imagine you hear, the distant, muffled sound of waves lapping against the shore, a sound that is as regular and rhythmic as breathing, as calming as a heartbeat. The sound comes and goes, muted by the fog, and each time it returns. It seems to say, rest, 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 and you rest. You let the sound carry you. Let it rock you gently. Let it lull you into a deeper, quieter state, a state where the boundaries between yourself and the fog, between the sky and the sea, begin to blur and soften, until you are not quite sure where you end and the world begins. And now, gently, you find yourself rising out of the sea fog, and you are back in the open sky. But the light has changed. It is evening now, or perhaps early morning, the time of day when the sun is just below the horizon and the sky is painted in the softest, most gentle colors. The clouds around you, the low stratus and the distant cumulus, are stained with shades of pink and peach and lavender, as if the sky is blushing at its own beauty. The light is so soft and diffuse that it seems to have no source, but rather to emanate from the air itself, a gentle, rose, gold glow that fills the whole dome of the heavens. You are floating in a sky of pastels, a sky that looks like a watercolor painting, a sky that is so calm and serene that you feel your heart rate slowing even further, your breathing becoming so shallow and quiet that it is almost imperceptible. This is the twilight sky, the sky of transitions, and it asks nothing of you. It simply is a quiet, beautiful presence, a soft, fading light, a gentle invitation to let go of the day and sink into the peace of the night. And you watch as the colors slowly, very slowly, change, the pinks deepening to mauve, the mauves fading to violet, the violets giving way to a deep, serene blue, the blue of the evening sky, the blue that precedes the stars. And as the light fades, you become aware of another kind of cloud, a cloud that only appears in the high atmosphere after the sun has set, a cloud that glows with a pale, silvery light, the noctilucent clouds, the night shining clouds, the highest clouds of all. They form at the very edge of space, in the mesosphere, where the air is so thin that it is almost not there, and they are made of tiny ice crystals that catch the last rays of the sun long after it has disappeared from the ground. These clouds are ethereal, ghostly, pale blue, white tendrils that curl and twist in the high, dark sky, and they seem to belong to another world. A world of pure light and silence and cold. You drift toward them, and you feel the air around you become even stiller, even quieter, as if you are entering a cathedral of ice and darkness, a sacred space where the only sound is the slow, silent pulse of the Earth's magnetic field, the only light the faint, silver shimmer of the noctilucent wisps, and you drift among them, and you watch them slowly, very slowly, changing shape, their tendrils stretching and curling, their light pulsing in a slow, hypnotic rhythm. They are so faint that you can see the stars through them, and the stars are bright and steady, the same stars that have shone for billions of years, the same stars that will shine for billions more. The noctilucent clouds and the stars together create a kind of silent music, a visual harmony that is deeply, profoundly calming, and you feel yourself becoming part of that harmony, your own rhythms slowing to match the slow, cosmic dance of the high clouds and the distant suns. Nothing demands your attention. No need to focus. You can let your gaze wander from one pale tendril to another, from one bright star to the next, and you can feel the vastness of the universe holding you, cradling you, telling you that you are safe, that you are small, that your worries are as light as the ice crystals that drift around you, as fleeting as the twilight glow that is now fading into the deep, velvet black of night. And now, slowly, very slowly, you begin to drift downward again, leaving the noctilucent clouds behind, descending through the deepening twilight. Below you, the earth is dark and quiet, dotted with the tiny, golden lights of distant towns, the soft, moving lights of cars on faraway roads, the still, silver reflection of the moon on water. The air is cool and calm, and it carries you gently, as if it knows that you are tired, as if it knows that you are ready to rest. You pass through a thin layer of stratus, and it caresses your skin with its cool, moist touch, and you feel the last remnants of tension draining from your body, flowing away like water, leaving only a profound, peaceful emptiness, a quiet readiness for sleep, and you drift lower, and you see that the ground is approaching, but you are not falling. You are simply descending with the same gentle, unhurried motion that has carried you all through this journey. The world below is a patchwork of soft shadows and quiet light, and as you draw nearer, you can make out the shapes of trees, their branches still and dark against the sky, the shapes of rooftops, the gentle curve of a river that catches the starlight and turns it into a ribbon of silver. You drift over a meadow, and you see the mist rising from the grass, a low, ground fog that hugs the earth and softens all the edges, making the world look like a dream, like a memory, like a place where time has stopped and peace has settled in for the night. And you feel yourself being drawn toward that meadow, toward the soft, dewy grass, toward the quiet, waiting earth. And you know that it is time to rest, time to let go, time to sleep. And so, gently, you come to rest. You find yourself lying in the cool grass, the mist around you, the sky above you, and you feel the earth supporting you, solid and steady. And you feel the air around you, cool and still. And you feel the slow, rhythmic pulse of the world breathing, a pulse that is the same as your own heartbeat, a pulse that is the same as the slow, eternal rhythm of the clouds forming and dissolving, rising and falling, drifting and resting. The journey you have taken through clouds and quiet skies is complete, and yet it continues always in the background, in the quiet spaces of your mind, in the peaceful, drifting currents of your dreams. You have traveled through the low mists and the high ice, through the warm updrafts and the cool, silvery light, and you have found that there is no destination, no end, only the gentle, ongoing journey, the patient, meandering drift through the vast, quiet sky. And as you lie there, on the edge of sleep, you remember the cumulus towers, the altocumulus waves, the cirrus threads, and they seem like friends now, like quiet companions who have traveled with you, who are still traveling, who will always be there, waiting in the sky whenever you need to drift again. You remember the fog and its soft, enveloping embrace, and you feel its cool touch even now, a gentle, moist kiss on your forehead, a whisper that says, "Rest now, you are safe, you are held." And you remember the noctilucent clouds, pale and ghostly, and the stars beyond them. And you feel the vastness of the universe holding you, cradling you, telling you that you are part of something immense and beautiful and peaceful, and that the events of one day, the worries of one mind, are as light as a cirrus wisp, as fleeting as a sundog, as gentle as the mist that rises from the grass at dawn. The air is still now. The sky is dark and full of stars. The clouds have settled into their own quiet sleep, and the world is hushed, and the night is deep, and you feel your eyelids growing heavy, your breathing growing slow and even, your thoughts becoming soft and formless, like the mist, like the fog, like the gentle, drifting clouds. There is no need to fight it. There is no need to hold on. You can let go, completely, gently, peacefully. You can let the journey continue without you, for a while you rest, while you sleep, while you drift into the quiet, dreamless dark that is the deepest peace of all, and the journey continues. Always, the clouds still form and dissolve, the ice crystals still drift and fall, the mist still rises from the grass, and you are part of it, always, even in sleep, even in dreams. You are part of the quiet sky, and the quiet sky is part of you. And there is nothing more you need to do. You have traveled far enough. You have drifted long enough. It is time, now, to sleep. Just sleep. Sleep. And so, with a final, gentle exhalation, you let yourself sink into the soft, waiting arms of slumber, and the sky watches over you, quiet and still. As you rest, the stars shine on, the clouds drift on, and you sleep peacefully, deeply, in the calm, eternal embrace of the quiet skies.